Okay, the last time we have seen whether discipline is necessary, then what is basic to advance, and here was my introduction. Then we saw, actually, I was going to start the Plato itself, but discuss the syllabus also. We have seen our first topic will be Plato and Aristotle, which UPSC has combined as a single topic. Then we have seen how we can connect our first topic, that is Plato and Aristotle, to which belongs to the paper one, but we can also read it by connecting it with paper two as well, especially the socio-political philosophy part and also the philosophy of religion part. So that much we had seen. Yeah, we had discussed what the metaphysics really means, what is the epistemology, what is the relationship between epistemology and metaphysics. After that, yes, we were here. Now let us begin the real story of Plato. Who was the Plato? Uh, Plato is one of the founder of the classical Greek philosophy period. He's also known as the father of philosophy. Then it was not like that from Plato onwards philosophy started. There were so many philosophers we have categorized as pre-Plato or pre-Socratic philosopher. Plato was a Greek philosopher. So he lived during the classical period in the ancient Greek. If you can see this period in which Plato lived, this roughly belongs to, I think in India, there was Maurya Samrajya or Magad. You might have learned in your ancient history. But anyway, our guy, Plato, he founded the Platonist school of thought. He established one institute. He named it Academus. So from that Academus, the word academy have come. It was considered as an institution for higher learning on the European continent. Now there is one another philosopher who had very much influence on the Plato's writing and his journey. His name was Socrates. Socrates was Plato's guru. All the writings of Socrates was originally compiled and propagated by his favorite student Plato. Now, many books Plato had written. There is one book, Republic. If you find it, just try to go through it. You will realize that it is written in a form of dialogue. The dialogues are between his guru, Socrates, and all these contemporary philosophers or students with whom Socrates engaged in debate. So they debate or say they discussed upon many ideas like justice, beauty. I remember the idea of justice was particularly debated by Socrates. But that's not our issue. We have to see Plato's epistemology here, how Plato became the philosopher he was. Now see, Plato grew up in a atmosphere or say in a society which Plato considered as which was going through a crisis. What kind of crisis it was? In Plato's own word, it was like moral decadence. And according to him, the society of Greek city-state or Athens was going through a moral decadence. And this moral decadence was because of the sophist teachers. In last lecture, I had told you that sophists were the main target of Plato when he began philosophizing. Now, actually, it was Socrates who engaged in debate with all the sophists. From sophist, if you might have known the word sophisticated. That word has come from the sophist. So, according to Plato, the sophist people they used to teach all the young student how to influence other people's thinking get them by your side. So they considered this as an art. By influencing the opinions of other, you can bring them by your side. Then you can have a political career out of it. So this kind of teachings sophists were teaching according to Plato. But Plato was not worried about the sophist teachings unless they started debating moral order, or if there is any moral order in society. So when they attacked the morality and religion of that time, Plato could not take it. Somehow we can say that, along with his teacher, he's just he was just determined to refute their whatever they were teaching. So it was just a small introduction of who were the sophists. I think student of philosophy must try to learn something about sophists before they dwell into Western philosophy. Anyway, so I was saying the original debate during the time of Socrates was about the virtues, concern about the improvement of soul, ordering of city states, order of nature, especially the moral order. So you see, Plato took it as a task that he has to re-establish the ethical order in the city state of Athens. So he took it as a mission to reform the society, and especially he wanted to bring political change. But whatever change he was thinking, it was influenced by certain parameters or certain circumstances of that time. You see, his guru, Socrates, he was, in a word, we can say, murdered, or he was killed by the justice system of that time, or the democracy of that time. So it was a limited democracy in the city state of Athens. Some ideas of Socrates, which he was teaching, were considered anti god and something like that, as a result of which Socrates had to die. In fact, he readily accepted dying rather than begging for mercy. So let us now see who were the sophists and why are they important. See, Plato encountered whatever the problem he was having with the society in the ethico-political construct of the Greek city-state. Whether we consider the scientific cosmology or moral order, the possibility of any true knowledge possible was the common questions and the question of debate. See, whether any true knowledge is possible, it was a question, and this question was posed by not the pre-Plato philosophers, means Plato philosophers who had come before the Plato. No, not by them, but by the new stream of thought. And this new stream of thought was sophist. The sophists were a group of philosophers. They were kind of professional teachers, and they used to travel from one place to another place. They were kind of intellectual who frequently visited the city-state of Athens and other Greek cities. It was around second half and 5th century. We can roughly relate it to the time when there was Chandragupta Maurya. It was around 5th century BC. During the time of Buddha, we can say, Siddhartha Gautama. Okay, so what these sophists used to do, in a return for some fees, the sophists, they offered the young wealthy Greek man an education in virtue or excellence, you can say, and it was called arete. What the actual pronunciation is, I don't know, but I would say it arete, whatever. So why these young men, they were very much interested in the lectures, in those lectures, because it was a kind of education where this sophist teacher, they used to teach rhetorical persuasion. So what is rhetoric? So if you see the dictionary meaning of the word rhetoric, its dictionary meaning is the art of persuasion. Okay, you have to persuade something, or in simple word you can say bring them to your side or influencing their opinion. So before the entry of sophist in the philosophical scene of the ancient Greek, the arete was predominantly associated with the aristocratic warrior virtues. It is all the kind of virtues like courage, whatever good you can think of. So excellence, wisdom, all this kind of excellence or virtues were thought as arete before the entry of Sophists. But with the entry of Sophists, it was increasingly understood in terms of ability to influence fellow citizens' opinion, especially in political gathering. And it was through the rhetorical questions. So some of the influential or notable sophists of that time were Protagoras, Gorgias, Epis, Prodicus, Thrasymachus, what? Anyway, so these sophists, they were kind of skeptics. They doubted the possibility of attaining the true knowledge of anything. So they used to pose the questions like, is there anything or the knowledge of anything possible or not? So they used to say, man is a measure of everything. This famous line is from Protagoras, and he used to say, man is measure of everything. There is no, you can say, right or wrong. There is no truth, false. So according to this sophist, they claim that they can teach a thing and at the same times it's opposite. So one can argue from one side, also from another side about the same thing. It was like a thesis and antithesis. See, this thesis and antithesis, these words are important because we will see again this during Kant and Hegel. So one of the sophists, whose name was Gorgias, and he was a Sicilian philosopher or teacher, we can say. He was an orator who could speak in a very good language. He was a very good speaker. During his life, he made a huge sum of money from his teaching or lecturing or tutoring. So they used to target the noble young man of the city-state of Athens or all or other Greek city-states. Athens was one of the city-states. So this guy Gorgias, he used to say that we can never know what truly exists, but only know existence through the language that we use to describe it. See, the same line of thinking we will encounter when we will be learning about Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein is one of my favorite philosophers. He used to say that the words cannot capture the essence of the reality. They are only pointer to the reality. So this kind of thinking means some of his philosophy was like that. Anyway, so this Gorgias guy, he stated his main ideas, which were that nothing exists. If something exists, it is unknowable. We cannot know if something exists or not. Then, if anything can be known, it is incommunicable. If one knows something, then he cannot communicate it because we use the language to describe a phenomena, but we don't actually describe or can capture that phenomena in the language we use. Was propagated by the sophist philosopher Gorgias. As a result, we can say that not all sophists, but their line of thinking was like that nothing is knowable. So, if no knowledge is possible, then you can argue from any side, and then ultimate result will depend on how strongly you can convince someone about something. So the rhetoric or the art of persuasion became the ultimate tool in your hand. At that time, the tool was used by these people, or say they were teaching this art of persuasion to the young people of the Athens city-state. So these sophists, they attacked all kind of ideas. Okay, we are going to see what kind of ideas they attacked. But they almost destroyed the previous base of knowledge with their newly found ideas or teachings. You see, this is going to create a problem for the moral thinkers, problem for those who believed in religion. So after this, many ideas were refuted. If you pay attention carefully, you will realize that this knowledge the sophists were teaching, or this knowledge they were propagating, it is also a kind of knowledge about which we can give no guarantee that if it is true or not. So it was a kind of paradox. If someone is telling you no knowledge is possible, then the statement itself that the no knowledge is possible is also a kind of knowledge. You see, that will negate it, and some kind of knowledge is possible, might be. So, anyway, our guy Georgius, he said that people cannot truly understand one another because we perceive the world differently. And since different people have different ideas about the same thing, there cannot be an ultimate reality. Okay, now he's attacking the reality itself. Now, Georgius was, in other words, a relativist, a phenomenologist who held the view that there is no general truth but only what appears to be true for a single individual. So, see what he's saying, that for me, something is like this, for you, something is like that. So, we cannot communicate because we perceive the world differently. So, the knowledge for me is very much different from knowledge for you. And that is why there is no knowledge possible, because for knowledge to exist, there must be one or a single unified knowledge. He directly said that knowledge is subjective, it tends to vary from one person to another. So he reached the conclusion that there is no knowledge possible. As I told you before, Protagoras was another great sophist who said that man is measure of all things which are, that they are, and of things which are not, that they are not. May not come in exam, but you see, you have to know what this sentence is. The man is measure of all things, of things which are, that they are, and of things which are not, they are not. It means it is the man around which, or say, man decide what the knowledge is. So for me, I decide my own knowledge. So if I say something is like this, then that thing is like that. And if I say something is like that, then that thing is like that. But if I say something is not like this, then that is also correct. For me, at least. Okay, that thing will be not like that. If I say happiness is good, then according to Protagoras, happiness is good thing. It is the ultimate knowledge for me. But if I say happiness is not good thing, then that is also true, and that will be my ultimate knowledge. So I am the one who is deciding which thing is what and which thing is not what. Okay, I hope you understand this.